Hello everyone and welcome back for another Missing Stamps video. I'm Cassie Trask. Today we're going to be playing with the Llama Love stamp set. It's fairly new and it's super cute. A lot of great sentiments in that Miss Ink Stamps fashion. And there are matching dies, so I love that for all of your llamas and all of those extra bits. We're going to be bringing in the Modern Waves stencil and also the brand new Succulent Swirls. And we are going to work on a desert sunset. So I'm going to start with some craft cardstock. I'm actually cutting this down to 4 inches by 5 1/4, so it will be slightly smaller than an A2 size card. And I figured with this particular stencil, I wanted to make not only a desert background, but I wanted there to be some sand and that desert sunset. And if you've ever seen a desert sunset, they are spectacular. So we lived in El Paso for a little while, and I'll tell you what, those sunsets were phenomenal. So I've used a little bit of mint tape to mask off areas that I didn't want to get any color on, and I am bringing in some of those new Hurley Creates Stellar inks. We've got Shooting Stars, our first color, that's that yellow, and I'm using some blending brushes. And then we're also bringing in this Prom Queen, and I'm slightly blending that into the Shooting Star a little bit. You can see that I start blending off the edge and work my way in. And then we're going to do a little bit more blending into the pink with the yellow, and then we'll put that Shooting Star away. And then our final color is going to be some 100% juice. It's this beautiful purple. And so I'm just bringing in that blending buddy, same thing, and then I'm going to blend that into our Prom Queen. And I'm not kidding when I say those sunsets have that yellow and that pink and even that dark purple in there as well. So it's they're just beautiful. So I'm trying to recreate. It's been a minute since we've lived there and even seen them. So just trying to recreate from memory. All right, so I'm done with all of the blending that I want to do for that part. I do want to bring in that Succulent Swirls, and I'm going to just tack that down with a little bit of mint tape, and I'm using my brown blending buddy and just the ink that's already on it, and I'm just going to blend over the top of that swirl just where the sand is, just to add a little bit of texture to that bottom portion. It does kind of go up into the yellow, but I kind of like it. I think it looks pretty good. So we're gonna stop there with our blending, and I am going to do one more thing to this background. I'm just going to bring in some gold like mica paint, and I'm going to spritz a little bit of water into that. This particular palette isn't available anymore, but there are plenty of beautiful gold paints out there, and I'll have some linked down below. And then I'm just splattering that all over the background like they are gold stars. And check that out. It's so beautiful. I really am happy with that background. We're going to let that dry while we stamp and color our images. Again, that comes from the brand new Llama Love. I'm inking these up with some Black Widow ink by Hurley Creates Stellar ink. It's really good with alcohol markers. It doesn't bleed at all, and I just love it. So we're going to bring in our Olo markers, and I'm just going to show you the coloring of this one llama. So for the other two, I don't put down a base color, but this one I am putting down that OR 4.4. I have those colors up on the screen for you. And I'm going to do stippling. I've done stippling lots and lots of times for you, but I have found that it's always good to have a little refresher. So I am doing the stippling because llamas have a lot of texture. They have kind of curly hair and it's a lot of fluff. And I just really like stippling for this particular look. It adds that extra bit of texture. And I will say, when you're doing stippling, it always looks bad before it looks good. It doesn't look good till it looks good, if that makes any sense. And I'm just going to go back and forth with all 3 of those colors that you have up on the screen. I eventually bring in even one more color just to add a little bit more variation and a little bit more texture. But so far, not crazy happy with it, but it is getting better. And stippling is just making little dots. That's all it is. And when you're doing it with your alcohol markers, such as these Olos, I'm just going up and down with my pen and just adding those little dots. And I'm trying to make sure that the sizes vary as well. So they're not all the same size. Some are small, some are big. That just adds to the texture also. And then I'll finally get to a point where I'm like, this is where I want it. And I'm really happy with how cute he looks with all of his little stippling. The other 2 are going to have that as well, but there is going to be, I'm just leaving it the white base. I will use some of the same colors. We just don't want them to be quite as dark. And so We'll color up his little feet and ears, and then his muzzle, and add a little extra color there. I did end up going over the top of his eyes, so I'm going to bring in a white gel pen and just put 2 little white dots for his eyes. And then I'll bring in a pink Olo for his ears and his little cheeks. And then I'm going to do a little tip-to-tip action here, where I bring my lighter one to my darker, and then I just pick up a little bit of color, and then that's an extra way to make your markers go even further. So take a look at how cute he looks with all of his stippling. The other 2, as you can see, I did the same thing, just use lighter colors, and I love how they turned out also. So now we're going to use the matching dies, and we're going to tack that down with some more of that mint tape, and then we will run this through my die cutting machine so that I have all 3 of our little mom, dad, and baby all die cut out. And then I need to cut down my sentiment. So I'm going to use my guillotine trimmer, just try to keep that as straight as possible. And then we can start thinking about how things are going to be put down on this card. I'm going to bring in some action wobbles, because when you look at that little baby llama, he is an active little guy. So I wanted to put an action wobbler on him. For mom and dad, we're just going to go ahead and glue those down using some liquid glue. And we're going to do the same thing. Well, we're not going to glue down the sentiment just yet. I'm going to add a little bit of shadowing and shading underneath mom and dad, just so it doesn't look like they're floating on the sand. It looks like they're actually standing there. And then I'm going to trim down my sentiment just a little, give that angle on that left-hand side. And then we're going to bring in some foam tape for the back of it. So because our little guy is going to be on a wobbler, that means he's going to pop up a little bit. I wanted the sentiment to pop up a little bit also. So we'll just peel off, well, we'll glue down our panel to our base, which our card base was 5.5 inches by 8.5 inches, scored at 4 1/4. So it is a top folding A2 size card. I'll peel off the release paper and then use my glass mat to try and make sure that everything is lined up straight, and I can trim off the excess with my scissors. And here's where I'll bring in one of those little action wobblers. I love these. They're so fun. I don't do them enough, in my opinion, but I did play around quite a bit with where I might want him to be. In the end, I decided jumping around in front of mom and dad was where I really wanted him. So I'll peel off the release paper on the one side, stick it down to our panel, and then I'll peel off the release paper on the front, and then we can stick our little guy down. And once he is down, that finishes off our card. Look at how cute he is, and it'll go flat and go in an envelope just fine. So don't worry about that. If you've never used them before, they are very mailer friendly. So if you like this video, be sure to hit that like button. Definitely consider subscribing if you haven't already done so. And big thanks for sticking around and watching, using my affiliate links. All those things help me to continue producing videos. So I appreciate you, and I will see you soon in another video. Bye, everybody. And be sure to check out all that Miss Ink Stamps has going on over on their blog, Facebook page, and Instagram for more crafty inspiration. Thanks for stopping by, and we'll see you soon.